Hey everyone, this is Becky Moore from Photoplay Paper. Today I'd like to share with you an encore presentation of our Say It with Stamps and Dies. Each of the word stamps has a large prompt word and is surrounded by a bunch of phrases that work with that word. Every word stamp set also has a coordinating pair of dies that will cut out the prompt word and a shadow of that word. In addition to the word sets, we also have a Made by Me stamp, an envelope art stamp, and 2 new icon stamps and dies. There is also a sentiment strip die that will cut out all the phrases on all of the word sets. We've also sprinkled in some humor throughout the stamp sets. One of my favorite phrases is on the Friend set, and it says, "Happy 29th birthday from your 110-pound friend." I'd like to show you more about these stamps and dies and share with you some tips and tricks for getting the most out of them. Let's get started. For each stamp set, some of the phrases work in front of the prompt word, some after the prompt word, and many work in combination before and after the prompt word. For example, in this wish set, you could stamp the phrase "dreams are a" and the phrase "your heart makes," and when you combine them with the prompt word, you get the phrase "dreams are a wish your heart makes." As I mentioned earlier, each coordinating word die comes with the word and a shadow of the word, and when you combine the two pieces together, this is what it looks like. Another great feature about this series is that many of the stamped phrases mix and match. In other words, there are several phrases on each stamp set that work with another stamp set. Here is an example of a mix and match card. I used the Happy Word die and stamps and phrases from the Happy, Congrats, and Hello stamps. I stamped the sentiments on a rainbow of scrap cardstock, then cut them out with the sentiment strip dies. As you can see, there is a nice variety of lengths to cut out all of the phrases in this series. But to save time, I often use just one strip size and then trim the length to whatever I need. It drives me nuts when the ends of twine fray and come apart. To avoid this, I like to sandwich the ends of the twine between 2 enamel dots. Not only does it stop the fraying, but it's also a cute detail on your cards. I love the 3D look, especially with word dies. The problem I find is how to add foam pop dots to the words. Could you imagine trying to get foam adhesive onto these narrow widths? My solution? Stack several dies together to create a 3D look. I die cut 6 pieces of the U word out of a rainbow of scraps. I layered and glued them together, topping off the stack with a white version of the U word. You can see on this card from an angle how cool that rainbow effect looks. Shadow dies are great on their own, but don't overlook their potential. In addition to cutting a shadow of a main word, you can also create an open frame of that word. First, you'll want to cut out the shadow. Then you'll want to take the word die and center it directly over the shadow piece and tape both ends. Run it through your die cutter, and this is what will pop out. Frames like these are great for shaker cards like the one I've made here. I love the look of a lacy, delicate die cut like this congrats word. The problem with many delicate die cuts like this is they can distort or get misshapen. When that happens, they are a pain to glue down and keep their original shape. But I have a solution for that problem. Save the negative piece of that die cut and use it as an anchor. Let me show you how. There are two ways this trick comes in handy. To simply glue down a delicate die cut, place the negative piece over the area you want to glue it to. Hold it in place with some low-tack tape. Then apply a generous amount of adhesive on the back of the die cut. And then to avoid that glue from squeezing out around the edges, just tap it off lightly on a scrap of paper. Then place it inside the negative area. Goes in like a puzzle piece. And press firmly, get all those edges down. Allow it to dry a little bit. Then pull off the tape and gently pull away the negative. And then you have a perfectly positioned die cut word. The second way your negative will come in handy is to create a 3D version of your word. To do that, take the negative piece and tape it down on a scrap piece of paper. Take your first die cut and lay it down inside the negative piece. Goes in there like a little puzzle piece. Then take your next die cut and apply adhesive to the back. Again, you want to do tiny little dots and be generous. Then to avoid it from squeezing out, once again, just tap it off on a scrap piece of paper and lay it directly over the first die cut. Take your time, lining it up as you go. And press firmly. If you do get a little bit of glue that squeezes out, you can just run a poker or a paper piercer or the end of a stylus around some of those edges to remove the glue. Then you'll repeat it again with your third die cut. Tap it off again on a scrap piece of paper. And line it up over the two layers you already have in place. Once again, take your time. Press firmly. Then finish it off with your final layer. And glue it on your stack of 3. rid of the little bits of glue that squeezed out. I like to let these set up and dry just a teeny bit, but in the interest of saving time, go ahead and pull up the piece, remove the tape, and pop your die cut out of the negative. And there you have a 3D of a very delicate die. Here is a finished card I used that 3D die cut on. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that by layering multiple pieces together like this, it creates a lot of stability with the die itself. In fact, when I glued it on the card, I didn't even need to use my tweezers. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the prompt word on each stamp set. The prompt word is scaled to the exact same size as the word die. A nice feature about that is you can stamp the word with an ink that perfectly matches your project, then die cut the stamped word with the coordinating word die. You can also use the stamped word and the die word together like I did here. I chose 3 shades of blue ink, and starting with the lightest, I began stamping the word thanks at the top. As I progressed down the piece of cardstock, I used darker inks. Using the same darkest ink, I stamped a final thanks onto a separate piece of white cardstock, then die cut it with the coordinating die word. I ended the strip of words with the die cut version of the thanks. I wanted to mention the white cardstock I used for these projects today. Photoplay Paper carries white card blanks and white card flats in A2 and A7 sizes. The same cardstock is also available in 12 by 12 packs. For the card bases, they come cut and pre-scored, so you just fold them in half and you're ready to make a card. Beginning in September, we will also offer card flats in the number 9 slim size and our new A6 card size, which I used on the Congrats card. We are super excited about this new card size, as it's a new one to our industry. This 80-pound cardstock is ultra smooth and has a white factor of 97. It's the same cardstock we print our Color Me sheets on. Because it is ultra smooth, you will get a crisp, detailed result with even the tiniest stamp. It holds up to multiple stampings and dries quickly. The cardstock is also great for coloring with alcohol markers like Copic, colored pencils, pigment inks, and pens, and other mediums. We hope you are inspired to create projects of your own with our Say It with Stamps and Dies. Stay tuned for another video that showcases our holiday release, which ships in September. It is a huge release and we are introducing a new card size to the industry. You don't want to miss it. For more information about Photoplay Paper and its line of collections, visit photoplaypaper.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Links are below in the description. Until next time, have fun creating!